Hey everyone, welcome to a new episode of the AI Best Business Show. Today with me, I have a founder, Shanda. She's a founder in the Femtech space, a space I'm really interested in. I think not a lot of people have heard about that space, the Femtech space. There's a lot of huge potential to that space, and I'm happy that I get to interview founders from the space that are building great products for the people. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ahmed. What I am excited about is that I'm for the first time being interviewed by a male on the subject of femtech. So that would be interesting today.
That's great. I get the honor to do that. Thank you. Uh, Shanda, before we jump into Femtech, I was doing some research looking at your career. You have a great career starting at Fatima Group, Yellow Marshmallow, uh, Zaytun Al Zafran. You have a huge career. Can you just tell us a bit about your career? Where did you start? And like a little bit of each part of your journey up until you got here.
Sure, very happy to do that, Ahmed. Like any other person, after I graduated as an management student, the only way to grow was to explore what is good for you and where you fit in. In this whole journey, I started off as a copywriter in India. Slowly, gradually, I understood that, events and then being into that limelight space is what I enjoy. So I did some work there. And then I found my real love, which is always been food. And I was in India, I was doing a full-time 24/7 canteen for Philips India Limited. From there, my husband got a job and he shifted to UAE. And like any other, supporting wife, I came along with him. The journey here became a little kind of a detour from what I was
Okay.
doing. Firstly, I wanted to take a break to understand. And when I started back, the opportunities here were very different from the opportunities I had back home. Somehow I saw myself fitting into finance field and I became personal financial planner. In between that instinct, that desire to be an entrepreneur never died. That's why there was this few stunts, I call them, with
Right.
my entrepreneurship. I did. I felt that I needed to do little more. I continued being my the financial planner, and the day I found Lizom, that's when I realized that my journey is now not come to a halt, but now it is at a place where I can say I'm more stable, I am more linked to the subject than whatever I have done before, if that answers your question.
Okay. Yes, it does. You mentioned you start Lizom. Lizom is a startup in the femtech space. Before we jump into what Lizom is, let's talk a little bit about what is femtech. We hear that phrase. What is femtech?
So everybody knows how the word was coined and how it came into existence. I will just shed a little bit of light into what femtech is and what femtech can become. Fem, the word feminine would definitely imply that it is for women in general, and tech means technology. So any technology related business that is helping women to improve and to maintain their health, I would call it as femtech. There
Okay.
could be other definitions. And in fact, Lizom was questioned initially whether you are a femtech or not, because the main product or the main business of Lizom is to sell biodegradable organic sanitary care napkins, which could easily be defined as a retail company as well.
Right.
However, the cause and the purpose and the way we sell these products are closely related to content and community, which is in today's state only flourishing because of the tech platforms that we have. So we use technology to be able to reach out to our women. So we are femtech. So anyone or any company that is working in the women health space and has used technology somewhere, whether it is about creating, building their community or selling those products through these platforms, creating awareness through these platforms, or they have an app that will actually measure or map any system that women needs information for, that I would call as a femtech.
Okay. We spoke about femtech. More in the US, we've been hearing about that term recently a lot. Funding has been increasing for that. VCs are really interested in funding femtech startups. In the MENA region, where are we in terms of femtech? Where do we stand right now?
I would say we are in a very good space at this moment. The understanding of any subject worldwide, if you compare MENA with worldwide, I see that we adopt and we kind of embed all these new things very easily.
Okay,
The people over here come from different parts of the world. They are educated in different parts of the world. So they bring in their knowledge and then they come here and work. So this region has the creme de la creme of people. And hence, I believe that this is the best place where you can actually see exponential growth of this, the space called as Femtech. It's not visible that much because the region is small, especially if I speak about not MENA, but UAE in general, where I
right.
belong. The region is small, so you are unable to see that, huge numbers, huge companies coming up. But this is the space to flourish. How I have seen growth of FemTech here in last 2 years is phenomenal. From
Okay.
me not knowing or the actual meaning of femtech to a place where we can see femtech growing and flourishing in this region in 2 years, I think it's quite some growth.
But you mentioned something that's interesting. I've noticed since I started interviewing founders, um, what what the US is a melting pot. There's different cultures, there's different nationalities. They all come to the US and they're building and they're integrating. What I've noticed is the MENA region as a whole has become this melting pot in terms that in UAE we have all these different cultures, all these different nationalities, and countries in the GCC are start to open their borders on each other, whether it's KSA and UAE and Bahrain and UAE, Egypt, KSA, they're all opening their borders to each other in terms of the startup ecosystem. So we're seeing that in the creations of for different cultures, even if it's the same region, but they have different cultures, different sometimes different nationalities coming and living in the UAE and having this different integration, which is giving us this advantage to be similar or maybe sometimes better than the USA in terms of what we're capable of. And you just mentioned that during your talk, which I find really interesting.
I do not know whether I'm the right person to comment that whether we are better or not, but I can tell you is that this region has the best talent at this moment. I can see it around, and it's one of the best places to live in, safer in terms of weather. Also, now I feel that people are becoming more accustomed to
Yes.
UAE weather, and I'm sure that all European love
Okay.
the sun that we have here, the
Yes.
access to sun that we have here. So that being said, this is becoming, more safer and more desirable place to live, and especially for these hustlers who really want to work in peace. Oh, I call it we are a team of hustlers. We really want to work maybe sometimes 14, 18 hours, and we still don't feel the brunt of, being in that space. So these people who really want to do things, they are more and more finding the UAE as the hub to create what they want to create. There is a lot of local support from the government entities as well. I would not necessarily comment on Femtech, whether it has support or not. It is gradually picking up.
Right.
But the ecosystem of startups and incubator accelerators, you will see the kind of support that is available here. And thanks to technology, any support that any incubator needs from anyone in any part of the world is available through mentoring from on tech platforms. Like mentoring is possible on Zoom, it's possible on Google Meet. So there is a lot of distance is reduced. So there is a lot of there are a lot of resources available online, and all of them are ready to help each other. So the ecosystem is really growing well. There's a lot of support from government also. In fact, I would say we have been supported from the very beginning, firstly by Sharjah government, and then later on by C3, which is supported by HSBC. So these
Okay.
support systems are really important for any ecosystem to grow.
Okay. We spoke about where Femtech stands now. Do you still think people are hesitant talking about Femtech and fem related product? Do you see this hesitancy still, or is it becoming less and less?
My answer is super no.
Okay.
No
So
one is
people are more
hesitant to talk about. No one is hesitant. No one that I know of is hesitant to speak about femtech. Everybody wants that. Females are 50% of the population, that is well known, but they are 50% of the support system at home. So gradually,
right.
what I would like to see is that look at femtech as not something which is only for women. This is that space where you are actually ensuring that your family's wellness, your country's wellness, your society's wellness is well taken care of, because you're taking care of half of the population there. And more people are able to understand that. More and more I am telling, I'm going to share something with you which might be of interest for you. So I was sitting with one of these mentors and I asked that what is it that the femtech should do. So femtech, his answer was, he's from VC World. So his answer was the femtech should ideally not look at only supporting femtech. Femtech is actually supporting men also. So for example,
Right.
Chanda, you're from period space. So if you create a tracker app which is for men in particular, imagine the kind of support and information that you're going to provide them. If I know my women is going to suffer a certain kind of thing, or hormonal change, or any mood swing during a certain type of time of the month, I know how I need to behave, and that will improve the quality of living at my home. It
Right.
was such a fantastic insight into it. So the femtech is not just about women; it is society as a whole.
I, I like this analogy, and how you link it is like we've been thinking about femtech as just it's a startup that helps women. It actually helps the society because women are an important part of the society. They raise the kids, they're part of the families, they're part of the society as a whole. And if we solve the problems they have, we have a better quality of life. And that's really eye-opening.
Absolutely, absolutely. You keep the woman happy, she will be able to keep the other people in the
So,
family happy. You keep the woman healthy, she knows now she will be. If they say when you are in a flight, first you put the mask on yourself and then you put it to someone else. So this woman needs to be well taken care of first so that she can take care of the whole society.
cool. Okay. And I love how you link it. It's really interesting. We spoke about the fintech in general in the region where we stand now. Before you came and started Lizoom, how what gaps did you see in the market like that led you to take this step? When you were looking, what's something that happened that sparked, okay, this is the gap I see, this is the problem I see, I want to go and solve that gap.
So I come from a Asian family, and what I'm going to share here is that I did not see a gap per se gap. I had a situation which I
Okay,
felt which needed um, support.
okay,
Most of the time I've been very vocal about this story, but I'm going to keep it very short. Lizzom is a result of a tribute to a friend whom I lost to one of the cancers. So that incident triggered me. It's a sensitive subject for me. I'm just keeping it aside.
okay,
So that triggered a lot of emotion in me, a lot of need and desire. That what is it that she wasn't doing good? Then after that, my research, when I was searching that, is she the one only alone? Is there anyone else suffering? Are we women able to understand what is going on in our bodies? That's when I started evolving, and that's when I started realizing that I am entering into femtech world. I did not start as a femtech founder. I mean, in my mental space, I was basically trying to find a solution to what my friend went through. And I felt that most of the women who I was speaking with had similar issues, or they were unaware that they are actually facing it. So that awareness about, okay, you have a problem. Sometimes you will have a small cut on your hand and you may not feel it because it's too small, or maybe you have
right,
not found it relevant, or if it is in such a part of your body that is not exposed, and you're not much worried because it is slightly pinching you, that unless and until it becomes too big for you to really think about. That's what happened. So periods are a very normal part of the life for women, and we've been living in periods and periods blues, I call them, from a very long time, and we've accepted it. It's a part of our life. So it was no need for any woman to actually be vocal and say, oh, we need care in this region. Only that incident triggered, and then I realized that there's so much. The whole system, the body, or the reproductive system of a woman is based on how you calibrate the hormones in the body.
okay,
Now, these hormones are regulated by your periods. So then, if everything is through this period, then we need to actually regulate the whole system around the periods. Then we can. Then came the thought of how do we make it a health thing? How do I ensure that women are aware of this health related issue? And then it started picking up. And as I was going to as I was accepted, or as lizzom was accepted into different incubators, I realized that yes, we are actually contributing to the whole wellness of women. It was
Okay.
not just about creating one sanitary pad.
Okay. What is Lizone? If
The
if
word.
you want, yes, or not the word, the word, the startup. What is it? If I'm someone that I haven't done any research, what is that startup? What does it do?
Okay. So we are that progressive platform where we would want to make the periods of safer time for of the month for women as well as for the environment.
Okay.
And we want to evolve from here to be able to help and build communities around us. I'm talking about not communities of different women around us to be able to help them in their journey to navigate from age 13 to age 55 in any change that they bring. It will be specific to hormone and gut health, but
Okay.
it caters to every woman.
Okay. That's a general. If I go on your website, what do I get? What can I do? Am I buying a product? Am I using an app? What's happening?
So that is a very specific and very fantastic question. So as of now, our stage one, it is an e-retail startup where you can go and buy organic biodegradable sanitary napkins.
Okay. Um, Now, here's a question. What's different between what you're selling and what I go and find at any supermarket or at any other website?
So this information is widely available on Google, but just for the records here, since you've asked me a question, all the normal traditional pads, they are made by materials which include chemicals and plastic. Up to 85 to 90% of them have plastic and um, chemicals in them,
Okay.
which invariably is not very good for human body because women is with those things for more than 6 years of her life, which means 5 days every month by default, every single month and every single year of her life from the time she starts her puberty till her menopause. So it's a long period during which you are keeping these chemicals close to your body. So chemicals are invariably known for not so good for our body and they are carcinogenic in their nature. So this is how I explain it, that how it affects your body and how Lizom comes in picture. So
Okay.
anything that you eat or you put on your skin has a way to go out. So when you eat a not so healthy food, there is an excretion system. When you put something on your skin, there is again something that you can take out of it by washing or by cleaning yourself.
Yeah.
But in the reproductive system of women, there is no excretion. So if these chemicals they go into your body through your vagina, then there is no way they can come out. They will definitely settle down somewhere. And in long run, I will not be surprised that there will be a direct link between chemicals and women health at some point of time. There's
Okay.
been very less clinical research being done under the heading women. It's recently, few 20, 30 years ago, 1995, 92 or 95 onwards, I believe, there was serious research started, clinical research, which was directed towards women in particular. So once we reach that level, when we have these data, we'll be able to speak better. But I feel that yes, traditional pads have these chemicals and plastic, which we are trying to avoid as much as possible. So
Okay.
our pads are made from organic bamboo and corn. Corn starch plastic now is taking up as a replacement of the normal plastic. And bamboo is in itself an antibacterial ingredient, which helps you have a healthy period. So the difference is that you are away from chemicals and plastic if you're using this.
Okay. And the reason I asked this question because I really wanted us to go that technical for anyone that's going to hear us later on would understand that the current state we are at right now, which is unhealthy, has a lot of chemicals that could hurt women, and where we could be going in terms of more healthy products that could really improve the health of women and not harm them as before. And thank you for the explanation. Uh, Now, I'm gonna go some more technical about startups in general. Are you doing your production in the UAE or are you outsourcing? Like your manufacturing of the product currently, is it in the UAE or is it outside of the UAE?
We're manufacturing outside UAE.
Okay.
We're manufacturing outside UAE, and we are now exploring new products from different parts of the world, because
Okay.
now the world in last 2 to 3 years after COVID has changed drastically. There's
Right.
lots happening in terms of better production, much more safer products are coming up, much more, um, now you have this ethical production also, and we would like to shift to that one.
Right. Here's a question. And because I have this podcast targeted to the region, do you ever imagine a day where you'll be able to manufacture your products in the UAE or in
I
the MENA region?
I
Yes.
do.
Okay.
I do, and I do it very soon. I'm just looking for someone who will understand the subject,
Okay.
and the ideal candidate or ideal person who can support us would be someone who's been working in the same space, any manufacturer in the similar space. I'll be happy to share all the technological details and the ingredient details that are required, and we can definitely manufacture here. There is support from government that is coming up for
Okay.
manufacturing companies. So yeah, in my journey, I'm assuming that we will definitely come across people who would like to manufacture here.
Okay.
Me myself would like to focus on the education and content part of the thing. I do have other plans. Um, Going forward, we already have one contract with the school, but we are doing now vending machines. Vending machines are the best way to be in front of the women and speak about the subject. Our vending machines are not simple ones. We are creating the machines which will have an LCD, which has a running content on top of it 24/7. This content can be created by the organization where they are put up. We are approaching schools, so school students will be involved so that they can actually feel what is happening behind. They
Wow.
can actually dig deep
Yeah.
into what is the research behind these things that are happening to women around, and how they can, once you do your research yourself, it actually you internalize the subject better. So that's where, if it is going to a corporate, we would want their CSR section to handle it, so that the women involved into creation of the content, women or men involved into the creation of content, will be able to probably educate other people around them better.
And I like this approach of having of vending machines at schools, which really gives the awareness to women at that young age about, okay, this is what we need, this is the content, provide them with the content so they're more aware. And there's actually a startup in the US that recently raised a huge round of funding that's doing this. I just want to find the name so I could share it, and that's really uh, interesting in terms of what you're doing. Here's a question: are you selling before going into vending machines and going into schools? Are you just selling the product online now, or
Yes.
are you okay? In terms of that, wouldn't that make the product more expensive than having it in retail at supermarkets and like shopping places?
I think I'll have to ask you, what is the question again, please?
Okay, so you're selling the product online, and when you sell a product online, it becomes a little bit more expensive in terms you're shipping the product instead of me going into a supermarket and buying it. Isn't that a fact? Is that a fact you're considering trying to make the product cheaper for women?
So, Ahmed, there are two opinions on this one. When I started off, I have tweaked the business twice only because of this.
Okay,
When we entered, I was very clear that I'm going to reach out to the women online, because that's where I can share information before she
right.
actually buys the product. I started
Okay.
with that journey, and very soon I realized that digital marketing is expensive.
Okay. Yes.
And being a startup,
Okay.
being a small company, it was not easy for us to sustain. So I said, okay, what next? In one of the incubators, we were given advice by a very nice mentor of ours, and he comes from a retail space. That retail is the space for you guys. Why don't you explore retail? We started going out to retail. One, it is not easy to be listed on retails,
Right.
right? Because they already have products, and this is kind of a mind shift. This is kind of a habit shift thing that we are talking about. We are not talking about a regular product. So before we reach there, then retail in this region again is a very different ball game than anywhere else. At least from India, what I've seen, it's very different. The margins are very different. How you stock and how you deliver is very different. The cost involved into warehousing and the logistics is very different. So again, I have tweaked the business to bring it back to, it will be digital first from henceforth, from now onwards, like 2 months onwards. It will be digital first. We are available on offline stores, and we will continue to be available on offline stores where it will make sense for us.
Okay.
We, I'm not ready to take up that big leap where you are investing in growth. And I think last year has been extremely instrumental for all the startups to understand that it's not just about growth. So keeping that in mind, if we have to do retail, the first 2 to 3 years will only go on growth.
Okay.
So I feel that by the time we reach a level where we actually start making profits, or we actually start making an impact here, it will be like 2 to 3 years. So better, we will go slow and steady. The region is too small. So we'll be able to reach out to all women, but digital first, and be available on offline stores so that any woman who wants to touch and feel the product before she buys, so we are there.
Right. So what I understand is you want to focus really on the education part, which is the digital part, awareing women of what their options are, uh, what better products they have out there before you get into stores. And when you have this awareness, getting into stores and getting into more selling would be easier for you. So an integral part of what Lizom is going to be is this educational part. Is that what I'm sensing out here?
So as I said, our first stage was to launch the product so that there is something for women to understand, touch, feel, and use it. So
Okay.
that's where we started. We have done that successfully, and now we are going towards getting another couple of products are coming in another 1 month or two after vending machine starts being installed. And then once these two products, they are I mean, you are able to, sorry, once we have these two more products on our platform, then the whole energy will go towards educating women.
Okay.
So we will remain digital first. That doesn't mean that we are leaving the retail part of
Okay.
it. Retail is the bread and butter. So we will still continue to be there. And offline, we are available on a couple of chains, and we are
Okay.
continuously striving to get on more of them.
What are some of the problems you are facing at Lizom? What are some of the challenges or bottlenecks during the process that you are facing?
Uh, for me in particular, one is I want to hire for Lizom. I'm saying I, not we here. I want to hire the best talent for Lizom.
Okay.
And the talent doesn't come for free.
Right.
So ultimately, the challenge, if you ask me, would be to get the funding.
Okay. What's preventing you maybe from getting this funding?
Um, I do not think that anything should stop, but at this moment, the region is slowly, gradually moving up. So we are just in sync with the
Yeah.
region's space. So we are
Okay.
also slowly, gradually moving towards. We have some couple of nice meetings coming up, so we are hopeful.
Okay. Uh, are you having some challenges persuading your target customer in buying Lizom product, or is the customer more open to buying the product, or are you facing that dilemma, or the customer is hard to persuade?
It's changing. It's
Okay.
changing, and it's changing at a faster pace.
Okay.
Initially, if you had asked me this question 2 years ago, my answer would be different, because I sat with women and understood that they're not even ready to make a conversation, not around periods, but switching to another product because they didn't
Right.
understand. COVID changed a lot of things in our lives, and we have seen that benefit definitely is coming to product like ours. So they are converting once you sit in front of them, or once they have had enough of information about what goes inside the products and how it helps you, they're ready to make a switch. It's a very low value, low ticket product, not
Right.
even a cost of a coffee.
Right.
So it's just a mindset that I am maybe paying more for the product which Lizom is offering me. Imagine the normal product is available for 10 dirhams, 10 pieces, 7 dirhams, 7 pieces. That's how normal common products are
Right.
available for. We sell for 20 dirhams, 10 pieces.
Okay.
And we do give, a lot of discounts and promotions and this and that. So you end up not paying that much. It's not even a
Okay.
cost of a coffee for 1 full month of your use.
This is okay.
So it is just taking some time. That's it.
Uh, we spoke about Lizzom. I want to go back to the outside picture. And since you're in the femtech space, could you share with us what are some other players in the femtech space, founders building in the femtech space in the region that you know of?
Uh, in this region, there are very few of them. One I'm now intrigued with is Amuna.
Okay.
It's a team of men. Like I was very happy to answer your question. So team of men is coming up. So which is a clear sign and that we all have understood femtech is for everyone.
Okay.
And that's where the whole world is going to go towards. Um, the magnitude or the size of the femtechs is still small in this region, again, because of the number of people living. But once we start consolidating this region as MENA, and then maybe that'll kind of go a little beyond MENA, then we can probably compare ourselves market to market, ourselves from UK or US,
Right.
which is a larger region. Asia, I do see a huge amount of work being done, especially in India and Indonesia, Singapore. There's a lot of work being done. So yeah, I think yes, we are in a good space.
Here's my kind of last question. If you were not building Lizzom at the moment, what other problems in the fintech space you would be going and building a startup around?
Femtech per se, right?
Yeah, and if not fintech, any industry, but let's say fintech and then any other industry.
So for Femtech, always the attention has gone towards the reproductive and mother and child
Right.
development of those areas. I feel one of the spaces that is now getting attention is mental wellness
Okay.
and mental wellness in and around hormones. So
Okay.
a woman goes through different changes throughout her life. So that mental wellness, when she starts off as a teenager, then what is going on inside her? When she is in her 20s, when she's starting her career and she sees her competition around her, she's not been given equal opportunities. Women face that. So what is the role of hormones there, and how do we map that up? Then comes the middle age when she's married and with children. Again, there is a hormonal change
Right.
when you are going through motherhood. Then you pass through, your kid is passing through teenage. That time you are passing through menopause. So all those, the journey is not that easy.
Okay.
It's different at all different stages. So probably I would like to look at the holistic wellness of a woman from mental perspective, from the very beginning till the end of it. And this will be probably more inclusive of uh, the overall health and wellness of women. Mental is the start and it goes on to every bit of your body. So that will be, it will definitely also include the sexual wellness, which
Okay.
is becoming a hot topic these days. I look at it from a very different and educative perspective. Some places it will be looked at in a different area, like it is progressiveness of a woman. But I see that it has much more value as compared to just being a progressive subject.
Okay. Perfect. Let's say let's take another step out and speak about a different industry, because as an entrepreneur you always think about problems, solutions, what's out there. Let's say you weren't in the femtech industry, you were outside. What would you be building?
If I'm not in the femtech industry, what
Yes.
I would be building?
Yeah.
Oh my God. If I was not having lizzom at this moment, so what do I would be building that women's community where every single woman is doing what she wants to do in terms of
Okay.
her work. And I'm
Okay.
talking about entrepreneurship.
Yes.
I'm not very sure whether you know about this, but Indian women in this region,
Yes.
they have their own small, sweet businesses they run from home, and they have
Okay.
not come out, have not used their full potential. They are just using it as a side business. I want that hustle to come in front. I want to build one platform where all these women, they come together and they support each other and they sell. Then it is not a platform where you are supporting women with resources so that they
Right.
can do their own business together. I'm
Okay.
talking about maybe an e-commerce, maybe an Amazon of
Okay.
women, something on that line,
Okay.
which will help them sell what they actually want to sell.
Okay, so maybe like an Etsy, but for you know how Etsy is just like for handcrafts. Maybe Etsy for women who are
Women,
selling from home. Perfect.
yes.
If anyone is hearing us, go build that product. Shanda, I love our interview. I really love that you shared valuable information, technical at some points, but I think everyone should know this. Everyone should learn about it. It's a space that affects the society as a whole, as you just mentioned. You're building a great product that could have great potential. I'm happy that I got to speak to you. Uh, Thank you for being here. Any plugs you want to plug in? Any stuff you want to share? Where could people follow more of what you're doing? Feel free to do so.
Lovely. Thank you so much. We're just now curious about our vending machines. We would like all the corporates and schools to at least know about it, what it is, what it can do. It's not a simple vending machine. It has a lot of, it is completely automated. It has all the functions that any new gadget can have. And it will definitely become one of your places to really communicate well with your audience if we use it in your premises in a nice way. It also gives women one of the quotes that I'm very fond of sharing. I will share this, that if a tissue paper is free of cost in every single washroom in UAE, why can't be a sanitary pad free of cost for women? Is it less of a necessity or more of a less necessity than a tissue paper?
I love that. Uh, I love that. That's a great way to end our podcast for today. Shonda, thank you for being here and keep on doing the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. I'm really good. I'm really feeling good to see men coming in this field. Thank you so much for
Let's
having
do
me.
it.
Let's do it.